Hi, I'm Erin Cookston. Thank you for joining me today. This is part one of a three-part series called Anatomy of Healthy Shoulders. Today we're going to practice plank pose, and we're going to use plank pose as a way of understanding how to create a healthy, stable relationship between the strength of the arms, the stability of the shoulders, and then ultimately the health of the upper back and the spine. So let's dive right on in. So we're going to practice plank pose today. Plank pose is a posture that many of us who practice regularly practice very, very frequently. And it's an area where you can create a lot of strength and stability in your upper back and in your shoulders. But it's also an area or a posture that can create a lot of discomfort and can actually feed a feeling of being misaligned or imbalanced. So wrist discomfort is a place that it shows up, shoulder discomfort, neck tension. These are all areas that are drawing your attention to parts of the body that plank pose can strengthen if it's practiced in an aligned way. So we're going to delve into plank pose. We're going to do plank pose 3 times. They're going to be a little bit of a hold. You can always keep your knees down. That doesn't take away from any of the benefit of the posture, and it doesn't take away from your ability to actually understand the anatomy of the shoulders in plank pose. Okay, so go ahead and come down onto your hands and your knees. And first just get the foundation set up. So you want the hands to be underneath the shoulders. Spread your fingers wide, and then also make sure that the crease of the wrist line up with the front edge of the mat. So you don't need to turn your hands out excessively. You also don't need to turn your hands in excessively. You're just trying to find shoulders, wrists line up with the front edge of the mat. And then as you press down through the base of all your fingers, we want to very slightly, gently, externally rotate the upper arm bones in the shoulder socket. And so you do that by getting the outer upper arm, the tricep muscle, to hug in. And that gets all the muscles around the outer seam of the shoulder blade to engage and protect the shoulder. And then as you keep pressing down, as you keep all those muscles around the outer upper arm and the outer shoulder blade engaged, try to widen the space across the upper back. So here's where you want to really feel that plank pose is steady and stable. And there might be a temptation to gaze forward. That actually puts a lot of pressure on the neck, and it inhibits the upper back from being able to widen. So you definitely want to keep the gaze down, keep the upper back wide, bless you, and the palms flat, bless you. Now you can either stay here on hands and knees, or you're going to step back for plank pose. And what you're trying to really do with this plank pose is you're trying to understand that the more you press down evenly into the base of all your fingers, the more you can actually have some leverage to engage the upper arm muscles, particularly the outer upper arms, which help to keep the arm bones stable in the shoulder socket. Again, upper back stays wide. Make sure your neck stays in line with your upper spine. If you look forward or if you look back towards your toes, you're going to interfere with the upper back and the muscles around the shoulder blades and the upper back. Take one more breath. We're going to lower the knees down if they were lifted. Go to child's pose, hips to the heels. And just take 2 breaths. Notice how your arms feel, notice how your shoulders feel. And then we're going to step back up for hands and knees. So hands under the shoulders, spread the fingers wide, get the shoulders to stack right on top of the wrists, crease of the wrist, line up with the front edge of the mat. Press down into the palms of the hands, hug the outer upper arms in, and widen across the upper back. So you feel that all the muscles around the upper back, the shoulders, the arms are really engaging in a way that helps the upper spine feel aligned and protected. If you're ready, step the feet back to plank pose. Keep the back of the neck long so that your neck is in line with the upper spine. And if you start to feel there's a lot of weight dumping into the crease of the wrist, try to ground down more evenly into the index finger and the thumb, and then imagine you're trying to lift the forearm out of the wrist so that you're trying to get the weight off of the wrist and get the forearm muscle to engage a little bit more. Take one more breath. Good, knees down, hips to the heels, child's pose. 2 breaths. Just notice how your arms, your shoulders, your wrists feel. Press back up onto your hands and your knees. One more time, plank pose. Hands ground down, shoulders stack on top of the wrists. Crease of the wrist, line up with the front edge of your mat. As you press down evenly through the base of all your fingers, hug the outer upper arm muscles in so that your elbows don't feel like they're bending outward. Widen across the upper back. Keep your neck in line with the upper spine, and then go ahead and step on back. Again, just acknowledging that it's a lot of work for the shoulders and the arms to stay aligned in plank pose. So if you know that you're going to be able to focus a little bit more, be able to kind of build a sense of integrity a little bit more with the knees down, then just keep the knees down. Make sure you're pressing down through the base of all the fingers. Hug the outer upper arms in to strengthen the arms. Breathe deeply, widen that space between the shoulder blades, and take one more breath. Good, knees down, child's pose for several breaths. And then eventually go ahead and just lift yourself up. Take a brief moment to come into a seated position. And we're going to close the eyes. So you just rest your hands comfortably on your knees, your shins, your legs, wherever they fall naturally. Close your eyes. And just see if you can kind of keep that feeling of neck being in line with the upper spine. Outer upper arms just gently drawing in so they stay connected to the placement of the shoulder blades. And then just take one more breath, widen across the chest and the upper back. Let's draw the palms together at center. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for part 1 of Anatomy of Healthy Shoulders. Stay tuned. Next video is part 2. Look forward to seeing you then. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and have a great day.